Welcome. So this week we're going to do Parshas Shelach. Shelach's the Parsha of the Meraglim, the tragic story of the Meraglim, why we ended up in the Midbar for 40 years. So the Pasuk starts, Shelach lecha anoshim. Shelach lecha anoshim, send for yourself anoshim, people. So Rashi says, Shelach lecha l'daitcha. If you want to, you could send. The Baal Shem did not tell him to send Meraglim. Ani eini mitzav lecha, m'tirtzeh shlach. If you want to, you can. Fisha bo Yisrael v'amru nishlecha anoshim l'fanaynu. So the people wanted to have Meraglim. So he said, okay, listen, if you want, you could send Meraglim, but I'm not telling you to send Meraglim. And in the end, there was a disaster. The Meraglim, it didn't work. They came and they said Lashon Hara, and then the people, they were going to, they should have to die in the Midbar, and terrible things happened. Moshe Rabbeinu was not able to, according to the Pasuk in Devarim, Moshe Rabbeinu was not able to come into Israel because of the Meraglim, which we'll speak about that at a different time. So it wasn't a good idea. But we read it in the Haftarah, Yehoshua sends Meraglim. So, I think everyone asks this question. What was he thinking? Moshe Rabbeinu had a disaster with the Meraglim. V'yishlach Yehoshua ben Nun min hashitim shnei anoshim Meraglim, that they should go and be spies and go check out the land. So what is, Moshe Rabbeinu said that it didn't work. So maybe he should have realized that it's not a good idea. He's taking a very big risk. So, I'd like to, there are different answers given. I'd like to suggest an answer. What was the problem with them? Why should they not have sent Meraglim? Because of the Shev B'tochim, the Rebbeinu Shalom took them out of Mitzrayim. He's taken them through the Midbar, took them to Kriyas Yamsov, he gave them man, he gave everything. Rabbi Shalom is leading them, so the Rabbi Shalom is going to take them to Eretz Yisrael. We'll take them to Eretz Yisrael. Why do they have to? Well, do what he says. You go here, you go there. Why do you need to go send Meraglim? You have to have betochen. But a person, let's say, is going to have an operation. So he has betochen, he goes on operation, he has betochen, he will be fine. However, if you take his blood pressure before he goes into the operating room, it will be elevated. It will. Because a human being, a mensch is a mensch, a person to be at that level where you have such profound betochen that your blood pressure doesn't go up and you have you don't have any kind of zitter in your heart, that is a very, very big madrega. People cannot be expected to have such a madrega. Can't be expected. But you go in, you do it, and you're fine, but Lamaisa, the heart's clapped a bissel. That's the way a person is, and the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't demand more from you. Now, the question is, what did the Meraglim want? Klal Yisrael wanted to send Meraglim. What was the purpose of the Meraglim? What were they supposed to find out? What information were they supposed to bring back? So if you look over here, it doesn't say. It says they said Meraglim. Well, we look in Devarim it does say. It says, V'atikrvun alai kulchem. You all came to Moshe Rabbeinu talking his long soliloquy. Tikrvun alai kulchem v'toimru, and you said, Nishlach anoshim v'neinu v'yachpru lanu ha'aretz. Let's send people, they'll check out the land. V'yeshuvu v'yisonu davar, they'll tell us some things, some information. Es haderech asher na'aleh ba. Which road should we take to go in? Which derech should we take to go in? V'es ha'orim asher nova aleihem. Which cities should we attack? In other words, you have to have a plan. How are we going to conquer this land? So, this is what generals always do. They make a strategy. We can go this way and that way. We're going to capture first this city and that city, and that will give us a a position, then we'll be able to capture the other cities, which is not so easy to capture. Let's make a plan. So they send the Meraglim to tell us which cities should we target, the first cities, and which road should we take. Should we come in to the east, or to the west, or the north? What should we do? Which way should we go? That's what they said. That is a very big lack in B'tochen, because Rabban Shalom will tell you where to go. You'll have the manig, if it'll be Yehoshua or be Moshe, maybe you would have made it without the Meraglim. It says that, or Yehoshua, whoever it is, the Rabban Shalom will tell them what to do, and you're going to go that way. So that's a lack of B'tochen. But what was the story with Yehoshua? What did those Meraglim have to find out? Let's find it. So really, it doesn't. The whole story just says sense Meraglim. Doesn't say what the purpose was. Just tells you the whole story. Meraglim, Rachav. But the last pasuk tells us. V'yomer Yehoshua, the Meraglim came back, and they told him, Ki nasoin Hashem b'yadeinu kol haaretz. We are going to conquer this whole land Hashem is giving to us. Ki namoigu kol yoshvei haaretz mifaneinu. All the defenders are shivering in fright because we're coming. They didn't come to tell them that this is what you, that what you do. But Lamaisa, you're going in to conquer the land, and you're going to be shaking. You're going to go on the field, and you're going to have to fight. Of course, Hashem is going to help you, and you're going to stick your swords into them, and you're going to do it, and it's going to work, right? But inside, you're worried. If you know that the other side is shivering in fear, that will make you feel better. That will bother you. That will make you, okay, fine. We're going to go. So for that, it was all right to send Meraglim. They were not trying to figure out what to do and what to do instead of Hashem telling them what to do. They were just trying to mollify the people. You're going, and Hashem's going to tell you where to go, and you're going to go where He's going to tell you, and everything. But if you're shaking inside, you don't have to shake so much, because those people are just pushovers. They're scared out of their wits, and and they're all just going to fall over in front of you. So really, you don't have to be nervous. This is what he told them. Okay. Now, that was the second Rashi. Now let's go to the first Rashi. Shelach l'cha anashim. Lama nismacha Parshas Meraglim leParshas Miriam. Why is the Parsha Meraglim, like in the end of Baloischa, we had the story of Miriam, she spoke Lashon Hara, the Tsaras, and right away comes Parshas Meraglim. Why does it come next to it? So the mice of Miriam happened in Chatzeros. They went from Chatzeros and they went to Midbar Paran, and the mice of Meraglim happened in Midbar Paran. So it was, we know, Ein Mugdam Mocha B'Torah, things are not, there's not necessarily chronological, but if something is chronological, it's not a kasha. First there was the mice of Miriam, the mice of Meraglim happened afterwards. So, the one story, the next story. What's the kasha? Lama nismacha. To teach you, because she spoke Lashon Hara, and you spoke Lashon Hara, you didn't learn from her lesson. But what's the question? It was next. So the Sifsei Chachamim says that the mice of Korach happened before the mice of the Meraglim. And he has a raya. The raya is from Devarim. It says like this, the first pasuk in Devarim, B'midbar b'ravim mul suf, bein poron, bein teufel, v'chatzeros. So what is chatzeros? This is the beginning of his Musar. This is his Musar Baramiza. The Dizov, that's the Egel. He's not saying exactly what it is, just bring Meramis to it. What is Chatzeros? Chatzeros, Rashi, v'machlekasa shel Korach. The machlekes of Korach was in Chatzeros. Chatzeres Miriam was in Chatzeres. They left Chatzeres and they came to Midbar Parah, and that's when Meraglim happened. Rashi seems to be saying that the machlokes of Korach happened in Chatzeres. So before the whole mice of Meraglim, before they left Chatzeres and they moved to Midbar Parah, at that point the mice of Korach happened. I mean, it's a little bit difficult to say this, because you look at the psukim that she got a tzaras, but Soger Miriam Chusamach Shivas Yomim V'Amlei Nosa Deos of Miriam, that Kaleiv waited for her. The Maisa happened, but she had to be in Segura for 7 days. So Kaleiv waited for her for 7 days to go. It would seem to be that as soon as if you say the mice of Korach happened in Chatzeres, it had to happen during those 7 days, after the story of Miriam, but not the whole story, after the beginning of the story, and during those 7 days, that's when the mice of Korach happened, which is like, it's not mashma like that, but Bemison, if you look in Korach, Rashi says Mefurish. Vayishma Moshe vayipol al panav. Vayishma Moshe vayipol al panav. Pasuk Daled. Vayipol al panav. B'fnei hamachloikes. Vayipol al panav b'fnei hamachloikes. Shekvar ze b'yodam tzircha nerafi. This is the 4th time that they messed up. Chatu be'egel. That's number 1. Vaychal Moshe. B'mitzayinim, v'yizbal Moshe, the second tzirchan was the mitzayinim. Meraglim is the 3rd one. V'yem Moshe Hashem b'shamu Mitzrayim, and b'chlekes shel Korach nisra shel Yadav. And by b'chlekes of Korach, which is the 4th time, he had no Korach anymore. So Rashi says Mefurish that Korach was tzirchan revi, that it happened after the Meraglim. So, the chacham notices this, and he says that this Rashi is not going. This Rashi is not going with the Rashi in Devarim. That this is like chalukim in Rashi. Rashi in Meraglim is going with in Shelach is going with the Rashi in Devarim. This Rashi is not going with the Rashi in Devarim. Okay. So I would like to say a different pshat. After the Parshas of Meraglim, it says like this. He told them, you're all gonna die here. But midbar hazeh, you're so worried. But midbar hazeh, yiplu pigrechem v'chal pekudechem. You're all gonna die. Ben esrim v'mala. Imatam tavoy l'oretz asher nesasi esyodi shaken eschem ba. Nobody's going to come. You're all going to die. Only Kaleiv Yefuna and Yehoshua ben Nun. V'tapchem v'shamatem levaz. You worry that your children will be harmed. Levaz yeh, that your children will be harmed. But your children will come. You're finished. You're not coming. You're all going to die. Okay. So now after the Meraglim, the next parsha. What's the next parsha? It's the parsha of Nesachim. Dabra Shem Moshe Leimer, Dabra Bnei Yisrael v'Marta Aleim, Ki Savoyu al Eretz Moshe v'Seichem, Asher Ani Nois Lachem, when you come to Eretz Yisrael, Vasisam Ish al Hashem, V'ikar v'mak v'korbonoi, and you should bring also v'yayin l'nesach, Revi'as and Tas ha'lo'ila. Now when you bring the korbanos, you have to bring the Nesachim, together with the korbanos. This is the parsha of Nesachim. So Rashi says like this, Ki Savoyu al Eretz, so Rashi, Biser lahem sheyichnisu la'aretz. He told them that they're going to come into the land. He gave them a b'sura that you're not going to go to Eretz Yisrael. So he gave them a b'sura that they're going to come to Eretz Yisrael. It's going to happen. You're going to come to Eretz Yisrael. But just right before we saw that the pasuk says v'tapchem eshamartem levaziyah v'avivesi oisam v'yodu esaretz eshamastem ba. This land that you rejected, your children will come there. So he told them already, your children are going to come. Why is this a psura? Kisavoyu ha'la'aretz. What kind of psura is this? This Bsura he gave them already. He told them before that your children are going to come to Eretz Yisrael. So I think that the Parsha of Nesachim was said before the story of the Meraglim. At that point, there was after the Messiah, so they didn't know if they lost the schus to go to Eretz Yisrael or not. So and then the Parsha of Nesachim was said Ki Savoyu Ela Aretz, when you come to Eretz Yisrael, then you're going to bring the chacham. So the Baruch Shem told them they're going to come. This is a bsura that they're going to come. And afterwards, the story of the Meraglim happened. After the Parsha of Nesachim was given to Klal Yisrael, then the story of the Meraglim happened. And then what happened? So he told them, listen, I gave you a bsura, you come to Eretz Yisrael, but you lost it. The ones that are the adults are all going to die, and the young ones, they will come. That's what the pasuk is telling you. So Korach happened later. But Lama Nismacha, why is Parshas Meraglim next to Parshas Miriam? Because it is out of order. Because Parshas Nesachim, which you could tell by the Bsura, what came before the Parsha of Meraglim. But what do we do with the Rashi in Devarim? Chatzeris, Rashi says, Machlokes shel Korach. Machlokes shel Korach was not a Chatzeris. I don't know exactly where it was, but it was in Keilasa, wherever. But it wasn't in Chatzeris. It was after they came to Paran. So I'll say like this: that Klal Yisrael was very, very troublesome. They always were after Moshe Rabbeinu, complaining and harassing him and saying, "Why do you do this and why do you do that? And we're not gonna have what to eat. We're not gonna have what to drink." It was constant harassment, Moshe. However, they never challenged his authority. You're Moshe Rabbeinu, you're the leader. It's your job, and what are we going to eat? Why'd you bring us here? You don't have enough kvarim in Mitzrayim. Always have complaints, always complaints. But a complaint is not a rebellion. They didn't rebel. They didn't challenge his authority. Who was the first one to challenge Moshe's authority? Miriam. Miriam said, "Why are you better than us?" Miriam challenged his authority. She was the first one to challenge his authority. So when she challenged his authority, then those people that wanted to rebel, Korach, who really was itching to rebel, but how's he going to rebel? Moshe had, he's the authority. You can't rebel against Moshe. So, once Miriam rebelled against Moshe, she didn't quite rebel, but she challenged his authority. At that point, Korach already started, the wheels started turning. The conspiracy was born. Okay, so now how are we going to topple Moshe from authority? How are we going to undermine Moshe's authority? That whole process began in Chatzeres. It didn't blow up into the open until the Ma'aseh of Korach. At the end, what they really made a rebellion. They did. But the seeds of the rebellion were planted in Chatzeres, when Miriam challenged Moshe's authority. So that's why Chatzeres, over there in Devarim, he says, Machkos shel Korach, that's where it was born. It didn't happen till later. Lo Nisvacha is talking about something else. Lo Nisvacha means the Parsha of Nesachim should have been said before the Parsha of Meraglim, because you see that there's a psura here, something which already were told a page before. One more thing. Vayas Kaleiv es ha'am el Moshe. So what did he do? Rashi says, he quieted the people. He said, wait, I'm going to say something. So they wanted to hear what he's going to say. How did he get them to hear, to listen? Tzavach v'yomer, he said, v'chizu bilvados lanu ben Amram. Is this the only thing that Ben Amram did for us? This is the only thing? So right away they thought, Hashemeya Yisover, Shebol Saper Gipnusai. He thinks that he's going to speak against him. They all quieted down. Okay, let's hear what he has to say. What is his going to be his bad things that he has to say about Moshe? Omar, he said, like Karlo and Sayam, Word lon samon, biggest lon shvach, as a Slav. So that's what he said. But that's how he got them. So what did he say? What did he say that made them think that he's going to say something bad about Moshe? He said, "V'chizu bilvad asalonu ben Amram." Ben Amram. So apparently it looks like that because he said Ben Amram, that made them think that he is that he's going to say something bad. Now, what does Ben Amram mean? Why is that mean he's going to say something bad? Said Ben Amram. So a boy once told me, I'm going to change the names, but he told me, when I do something good, my Rebbe says Chesky. But when I do not so good, he says, Moskowitz, where's the place? You know, he says, you call him my last name. That means very cute, but that's not the pshat over here. Ben Amram, right? So what's the thing? So you think Ben Amram somehow is something negative, but if you look before in Parshas Shelach, Vayasu Kain, he said, "V'chizakti is leiv parai," and he's going to chase after you, and then I'm going to make his wheels heavy. Cholcheloi, Vayasu Kain. What does Vayasu Kain mean? Rashi says, "Lahagit shvacham," to give the shvach of Klal Yisrael. Sheshamu l'kol Moshe, they listened to him, and they didn't say, "V'liamru hech niskarev el reitfeinu." How could we? I mean, Moshe Rabbeinu told them to travel towards the Mitzrayim to go next to them. They should have said, you know, what, we're going to go next to them? They want to kill us. No, they didn't say that. They didn't say, we have to run away. Ela amru, ein lonu ela divrei ben Amram. Whatever Ben Amram tells us, we accept it. So here, Ben Amram is actually not a gnos. He's saying a milah. Whatever Ben Amram says, if he says we should put ourselves in harm's way, we're going to do it. We don't question. Everything is great. So here, Ben Amram is a shvach, and here it's a gnai. What's the difference? I think the pshat's like this. Until at this point, in Shelach, Klal Yisrael did not have a long experience with Moshe. They didn't have a long experience with him. He never, he came and he brought Makkos on Mitzrayim, and the Makkos didn't come on Klal Yisrael. Very good, but he did not ever save them in trouble. He didn't have a long experience with him. He just came and he took them out. So now he's telling them to put themselves in harm's way. Why should we listen to him? So the reason why you should listen to him is because Amram was the Gadol Ador. Amram was the Manig in Mitzrayim for many, many years, and everybody knew Amram. So if Moshe is Ben Amram, so we should do it, because even though Moshe we don't know so much, but since he's Ben Amram, so that's his yichus. He's Ben Amram's son. He's Amram's son. So Mela, we should listen to what he says. However, at this point, he's taken them already through the Yam Suf, and he's brought them the man, and he's done all these things. So he has his own credibility now. Why do you need? Why do you don't? At this point, he's Moshe. At this point, there's no reason to follow him because of his father. Follow him because of himself. He has a very good track record. So why do you call him Ben Amram? Apparently you're trying to denigrate him, trying to belittle him. Moshe is not a big deal. He's only Ben Amram. So they figured, he's going to go say a gnos. That's what Chilik is in here and over there. Thank you very much, and hope to see you again next week.